You ever met someone so invisible, so ordinary on the surface, that you'd swear you'd never remember their face, even if they mopped your floors 1,000 times? Yeah, that was Maria Santos at St. Mary's General Hospital. For 8 years, she blended in just another janitor pushing a cart, scrubbing blood off gurneys, drifting like a ghost through hallways while doctors and nurses buzzed around, too caught up in their own chaos to even say her name. She wanted it that way. Trust me, nobody vanishes into routine better than someone with a past worth hiding from. But the night, everything changed. It started like any other. Rain hammered the city outside. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, and Maria, in those baggy navy scrubs and that old hospital logo cap, made her rounds. 11:47 p.m., a time when the whole building felt like it was holding its breath. She worked quick, silent, eyes always moving, hands dancing with a grace you don't see in people who just clean up messes. The thing is, when you spend years noticing what everyone else ignores, you start to see patterns, you know what I mean? Like the new security guard, Harrison, limping on an old Injuria detail that'd matter if all hell broke loose. Or that the backup generator was making a weird hum, just a whisper of trouble. But the reel tells the way someone holds themselves, where their hands rest, whether they're watching exits or watching people. Those were things Maria picked up before anyone else even clocked a threat. See, the hospital at night is another world. The rich, the poor, the desperate, and the damned, they all end up in the ER. Some nights, Maria found herself cleaning up after a shootout victim next to a suburban dad with a busted finger and a homeless vet fighting off infection. She never judged, not anymore. She'd seen too much, and besides, she'd once saved lives in places where hope was in even shorter supply than morphine. Let me back up a sec, because Maria Santos, she wasn't her real name. Not even close. She used to go by Lifeline, Special Forces medic, battlefield surgeon, ghost when she needed to be. Her real name died in a helicopter crash in Eastern Europe, according to every government record that mattered. But those hands? They never forgot how to suture a wound under fire, how to improvise a splint out of a rifle stock, how to kill when there was no other way out. 8 years ago, her team got burned by someone higher up, left for dead in a mess called Operation Silent Shield, and Maria went underground, disappeared so hard she started to believe the lies herself. So yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Saving lives in war, saving lives in a hospital, but always in the shadows, always with that instinct that the worst is never as far away as you think. For Maria, peace was just a pause between storms. She thought that night would be another long shift, same as always. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the trauma surgeon, was working late, all business and confidence. Maria liked her. She watched her work, admired her steady hands, but kept her distance. Nobody at St. Mary's knew the truth. Not about her, not about the scars beneath those sleeves. At 3:17 a.m., the old paranoia crept back, something she hadn't felt in years. Dr. Rodriguez was patching up a new patient, some guy with a gunshot wound that wasn't random, not by a long shot. High-velocity rifle. Entry wound from above, like someone took a shot from a rooftop. Maria caught the details, the tattoos under the man's bloody shirt, military insignias mixed with old gang symbols, scars that said he'd lived hard and fought harder. When he grabbed the doctor's wrist and croaked out, "They're coming. Tonight. The hospital's not safe," Maria's blood turned to ice. The guy wasn't rambling, was warning them, and Maria, she understood every word. The hospital, her sanctuary, was about to become a battlefield. Maria ducked into her supply closet, peeled back a hidden panel on her cart, and powered up a satellite phone, something she swore she'd never use. She fired off a coded message to the only person who ever knew she was alive. Lifeline 2. Ghost package compromised. Immediate extraction required. 30 seconds later, the answer: Camino extraction. Too hot. Hunker down. So that's it, right? The past wasn't just haunting her, it was kicking down the doors. She slipped back out, moving through the ER like any other night on the outside. On the inside, she was cataloging weapons, defensive positions, escape routes, her old instincts snapping into place. Medical scissors could be a knife. Oxygen tanks a bomb. Crash carts, mobile cover. But her priority wasn't just survival, it was everyone else. Then the ambulance rolled in. Something was off. The crew moved like soldiers, not paramedics. The patient on the gurney looked ready to spring up at any second. Maria called on the plate. It came back stolen. That was all she needed. The hospital was under siege, and no one else had a clue. She pulled Dr. Rodriguez aside, told her to lock down the ER, no questions. The lights went out, gunshots exploded, and suddenly the calm, quiet janitor was barking orders like she was back in uniform. Stay down, don't move. Dr. Rodriguez's eyes were wide. She had no idea who she was standing next to. Maria took down the first gunman with moves she hadn't used in years. Disarmed, choked out, search done. The radio on him confirmed if this wasn't a random hit. The name Lifeline crackled over the frequency. They weren't here for the wounded guy. They were here for her. In that chaos, something shifted in Dr. Rodriguez's fear turned to trust. Maria explained what needed to happen. Get the patients and staff to the surgical suite, the only place they could fortify. Rodriguez knew the hospital's secret passages better than anyone, and together they shepherded the group: elderly man with chest pain, teenage girl with a broken arm, terrified nurses through back corridors, avoiding the armed teams sweeping the main floors. And just as they reached the third floor, helicopters thundered overhead. Maria listened in. All exits are covered. No one gets out until the primary objective is achieved. It was a military-grade operation, air support, total lockdown. She realized this wasn't about a personal vendetta, it was about something bigger, something worth killing for. That's when Maria made her call. She wasn't running anymore. She transformed the surgical suite into a fortress: barricades, improvised weapons, medical supplies lined up for emergency trauma. When Dr. Rodriguez finally demanded answers, Maria told her the truth. Her real name, her team's betrayal, the files she'd hidden, evidence of war crimes, illegal arms deals, everything that could bring down their old commander, Colonel David Kane. The same man whose voice now echoed through the hospital's PA system, calling her out, offering a deal, surrender the files, or he'd start killing hostages. Yeah, that happened. Maria played for time, maneuvered through the hospital's systems, locking down elevators, sealing fire doors, setting off distress signals to law enforcement. She flooded Kane's radio frequencies with false information, started recording every word he said, building her own insurance policy in real time. All the while, she prepped sedatives, improvised smoke bombs, anything to even the odds. She turned the hunters into the hunted, one team at a time, knocking out squads with non-lethal gas, using every shortcut, every maintenance passage she'd mapped over 8 years. As Kane's men fell or wavered, Maria broadcast the truth to their radios. Kane wasn't on a mission for national security. He was covering up his own corruption, killing the very people he was sworn to lead. But the final confrontation wasn't a shootout. It was a reckoning. Maria cornered Kane in the administrator's office, his last safe spot. The two circled each other, him with a gun, her with nothing but a scalpel and the weight of every betrayal. Kane tried one last time to twist the truth, to justify his sins, but Maria wouldn't give him the satisfaction. You always were better at tactics than strategy, she told him, but tonight you're fighting on my turf. He fired first. She moved like a shadow out of the line of fire, hitting him with a sedative dart. Kane went down, breathing but out cold. Maria secured his files, took pictures of everything: encrypted drives, payoffs, messages to arms dealers, uploading them to every contact she had in law enforcement. The cavalry finally arrived, feds, military investigators, swarming the hospital. The evidence brought down not just Kane, but a whole network of contractors and officials who'd sold out their own. Maria's team was finally honored, their sacrifice recognized. She got a commendation, but what mattered was the letter from Tommy Martinez's mom, thanking her for giving her son's death meaning. Maria didn't go back to St. Mary's. She found work at a veterans center on the south side, helping soldiers heal instead of hiding. She wasn't invisible anymore. but she was finally at peace. Now, I gotta ask, was Maria right to risk everything? Or should she just run and save herself? Is there ever really a clean way to fight for justice? Or do the shadows always leave a stain? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Where do you draw the line between doing what's right and doing what's necessary? And if this story hit home, don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, we've got a lot more where that came from.